MrBeast just surpassed 50 million subscribers on YouTube, overtaking Marshmello and coming close to Blackpink. But how did he start on this journey? What advice does he have for content creators? And what are his next steps? MrBeast, or Jimmy Donaldson, created his first YouTube channel at the age of 12, playing a Facebook game, Battle Pirates. He later started another channel called MrBeast 6000, so that he could post his Minecraft videos separately. And guess how long it took for MrBeast to get 1,000 subscribers? That's right, it took him 2 years. In fact, when he posted his 100th video, he only had 730 subscribers and about 80,000 views. He now has over 8.7 billion. So how did he take off? Well, after years of making content, obsessing over data, and trying to figure out what the YouTube algorithm was, his worst intro series, where he comments on YouTubers' worst intros, started to gain some popularity. He later started to do some of the things that we know him for today, such as counting to 100,000, reading the entire dictionary, or giving $10,000 away to strangers. But where does MrBeast get his money from? Well, as his videos started to get more views, sponsors started to approach him to give him $10,000. Instead of pocketing the $10,000, he would just give away the $10,000 to a stranger. He does the same things over and over again, doing some of the craziest things that we have ever seen on YouTube. Ordering pizza and then tipping the house, or buying everything in 5 stores and giving them all away. As his subscribers started to increase, so does his spending. Now, as one of the most successful and fastest growing YouTubers on the planet, what advice does he have for content creators? His first advice is to spend more time thinking and brainstorming. MrBeast could spend 24 hours in his backyard or 24 hours in prison. He could spend the exact same amount of money or effort on a video, but obviously one of them is more interesting than the other. In fact, MrBeast said that if there is no clickable title and thumbnail, he will not make the video. So does that mean we should focus on clickbaits instead of making good content? Well, MrBeast will tell you to stop being lazy. There are plenty of ideas that are both clickable and good content. It's just hard to come up with. So be relentless and try to come up with those ideas. That leads us to the second point, which is how exactly does MrBeast come up with his ideas? Well, you might be surprised, but he draws inspiration from his everyday life. In fact, he opened up a dictionary one day and just randomly pointed at a word, prison, and that became his next video where he spent 24 hours in a prison. Now, you might be wondering, times have changed. YouTube is not the same as what it was back then when MrBeast first started. So if MrBeast was to start over again, maybe as a 15-year-old trying to become huge, which platform would he be on? If you're thinking TikTok, well, not quite. MrBeast said that while TikTok is making it very easy for people to become famous, he would still choose YouTube as a place to grind. And I'll get into his prediction of YouTube later on. So what are MrBeast's next steps? This relates to what his greatest fear in life is, which is that one day he would be 60 years old and realizing that he spent 40% of his life playing video games and 15% watching Netflix. MrBeast said that there are things more fulfilling that you can accomplish, and when you get rid of those temptations, you suddenly have an extra 2 or 3 hours a day. MrBeast would very likely continue to grow and to use his brand presence as a dominating marketer. MrBeast Burger is one of the first examples of this. In fact, he had to stop promoting on his social channels so that the restaurants could have time to catch up to the non-stop orders. More importantly, MrBeast would likely expand his philanthropic actions. His past efforts like Team Trees or adopting every dog in an animal shelter are early signs of what's more to come. He's planning on making more videos in his Beast Philanthropy channel, and one day to direct his main channel's influence into opening up hundreds of homeless shelter and food banks and give all the money away. Now, are you worried that one day MrBeast would burn out and stop making YouTube videos? Well, I don't think that's something to be worried about in the near future. In fact, MrBeast said that he is obsessed with YouTube. All he wants to do every day is to wake up, make videos, and go to bed. Finally, what is MrBeast's prediction of what YouTube will look like in the future? Well, he thinks that YouTube would become unfathomably large. He said that the YouTube dream is very much still alive. Most people just don't yet have the knowledge on what people want to watch. In fact, he related how in the early days, he thought that his videos were pretty good, but looking back right now, he thinks they're horrible. Now you're probably wondering, who is this guy? Like, where does he get all his information of MrBeast from? Well, it's a combination of research into MrBeast from YouTube videos, articles, as well as I stumbled upon Clubhouse last week when MrBeast, I think it was his very first day of using Clubhouse, and he started a room to talk about YouTube. And so I joined in, and it was such an awesome conversation that I decided to take notes, and that later became this video. Now, here are some fun facts to wrap up this video. Chris, MrBeast's high school friend, is his first subscriber. Chandler first joined the MrBeast team as a janitor over the summer. He later appeared in one of the videos, and the fans really liked him, so he continued and eventually won an island. And finally, there's a picture of Elon Musk in every single room of MrBeast's house, including the toilet. I hope you liked this video. If you just came across my channel, this is the very first time I'm making a video that's not an interview. So if a lot of people like this, I might turn this into a series. Usually I interview entrepreneurs about their startup journey and turn that into podcasts sharing their origin stories as well as their advice in less than 20 minutes. Some of my past guests include an entrepreneur who's making cricket protein, and I recently interviewed Jim McKelvey, who's the co-founder of Square. So be sure to subscribe to be notified when that video comes out. With that, let's grow a seed of innovation together, and I'll see you next time.